Jasmine Crockett stood in a House hearing and framed mass deportation as a therapy session for white men. That's the starting point. It's not even a paraphrase. Those are her actual words. What follows is not a pile of random reactions either. It's the responses that came after she said it out loud.
We're back again for another edition of the Republican Party's Great Replacement Theory Therapy Session, where all the white men of the House Judiciary Committee lecture Americans on the importance of mass deportations so that they preserve their so-called American values, like shooting and killing American citizens who are peacefully protesting, or stuffing hundreds of thousands of people into cages without proper nutrition or medical care. We're back again for...
Wow. Sounded like she was talking about the Obama administration. Okay. She did not argue the policy on numbers, cost, or public safety. She argued the skin color of people asking the questions. That's, I mean, that move only works if you believe enforcement itself is suspicious when certain people support it. Notice she listed American values and immediately tied them to shooting protesters and stuffing people in cages. That is not a debate. That is narrative control. The committee was talking about removing people who are here illegally. She's turned it into a racial morality play. That is the move. Now, watch what happens when, my guy Jeffrey Mann answered the same spirit with a different claim she made the same week.
Do you know what today is? Well, of course I know what today is. It's Black Women's Equality Pay Day. And we know in this country, unfortunately, Black women tend to be undervalued, under-resourced, yet expected to do more with less. The same work for the same pay. This really shouldn't be a hard concept that Black women should get paid.
Now, this is what she posted on X with this video. Today is Black Women's Equal Pay Day, and in 2026, Black women are still only making 65 cents on the dollar. Pay Black women, period. A goofy video, just stupid, just dumb. Black women are making 65 cents on the dollar compared to who and how and why? First off, it's white men. But then I said, okay, well, let's see what she's talking about. This 65 cents per dollar compares what the average Black woman makes compared to the average white man makes. And it does not take into account what job they chose, occupational choices, hours worked, experience, or education levels. I want to say this again. It does not take into account what job they chose to pursue. Different jobs pay different amounts of money. It doesn't take into account how many hours they worked. It also doesn't take into account their education levels. I can't be the only one who sees how stupid this is. And this woman is in Congress. She's helping to write and she votes on laws. There are so many variables that play a role in this that she's just ignoring. It's unserious. But, it's about, showing I'm supporting Black women and getting out there and saying something and virtue signaling, because that's what Democrats are about. They're about virtue signaling, patting themselves on the back, making themselves feel moral, and then opposing Donald Trump, crying about racism. And videos like this will lead Black women to think they're oppressed in the United States when they're not. Black women are not oppressed. Black men are not oppressed. And we need leaders who actually come out and say that and actually talk about decision making and consistently stacking good decision on top of good decision on top of good decision, rather than complaining about history, the white man, and slavery, and wanting reparations and whatnot. The Democratic Party is not beneficial for Black people. It just enables, what's the best word I want to use? It enables self-destructive behavior for Black people. They're enablers of that. But I talk about topics like this more in depth in my email newsletter. I send that out every morning around 7 a.m. Central. The link is in my profile. So just click that link, drop your email in, hit subscribe, and you'll be good to go.
Definitely do that. 65 cents, she says it like a finished act. Or a finished fact, rather. Finished act because of the performance. Anywho, but the number only stays that low if you refuse to account for the actual job. The actual hours, the actual field. When you flatten every Black woman into one statistic, you're not fighting for her. No, you're using her, if anything. Jeffrey is not denying history. He's refusing the current script that says the gap is primarily racism in 2026 while ignoring every controllable variable. That refusal is treated like betrayal. I'm telling y'all, that should tell you something. Now, same energy, different delivery, another black man watching the same posture.
Do you know what today is? Well, of course I know what today is. It's Black Women's Equality Pay Day. And we know in this country, unfortunately, Black women tend to be undervalued, under-resourced, yet expected to do more with less. The same work for the same pay. This really shouldn't be a hard concept that Black women should get paid.
Then take your ass to work. See, this is the problem, right? You run around, you say we're the most educated. No, you have some bullshit degrees and some shitty ass jobs. Most educated amongst black people, yet you're still lower paid than black men, and black men are hard workers. Maybe this education thing for y'all isn't going the way you want it to go because you're going into bullshit careers. You're not less valued than white women. Nobody sees it that way. White people don't even see it that way. You know who sees it that way? You do, because you're professional victims. Now, Jasmine Crockett shit comes out and says, is black women pay equal? Like, who invented this day? Is this like Juneteenth or some shit? What are you talking about? You go into a job, they're going to offer you what they can pay you, right? You think because you're black, that's the reason they don't pay you? No, it's because you don't work. Skedaddle.
Skedaddle. He didn't raise his voice, y'all. He just looks at the calm and the how do I say, weird claim in the delivery and decides that, you know, I should have said calm confidence, and decides that it just does not hold. That quiet refusal is more dangerous to the narrative than shouting, because shouting can be dismissed as anger. Calm rejection, it just can't. You know. You know, his face says the concept is simple and still wrong. Now, the conversation shifts the race statistics to something just a little bit heavier, y'all.
Of course, that tells you they are not of God. That's why I tell you as directly as I possibly can, if you are a Christian, you cannot be a Democrat because they do too much damage to people. They abort children up to the 9th month. They've killed 65 million since Roe v. Wade in 1972. They now castrate little boys and call them little girls. They allow men to walk into the bathrooms with children and watch them urinate. They want to pull the Bible out of the schools to put porn in, sexually groom your children. So Democrats now say men can have babies, men can menstruate, men can lactate. And even though most of you guys are going to hear this and share it with your Democrat Party friend, they're not going to change their vote. There's no way you can say that a man walks up to you and says, hey, dude, man, what's going on? I'm running for office. Okay, what you running on? I'm going to let grown men go into the bathroom and watch your child urinate. You got my vote. And also, I believe that men can have babies. Well, hell, man, you ain't crazy. Well, tell me where to vote for you at. We're going to teach the same thing to your children. So you're going to teach my children that men can have babies. Yes, we are. You, my guy, if there's a hell, preachers that support this, unless they repent, are going to the 7th level of hell for leading God's children astray. Al Sharptons, Jamal Bryants of the world, they tell you aborted your children and having this done to your children, having this done to your sisters and your brothers is okay. These are horrible men, but they've been sent here to test you, to see how firm you will stand on the word of God. They are going to try to do the work of their father, the devil, and try to do as much harm to America as they possibly can before they die. But make no mistake, the devil is here, and he rests his head at the DNC, Democratic National Committee. This evil institution, this slaughterhouse, calls itself the Democratic Party. And I have one piece of advice for all of you so-called Christians that still support this party. Run! And I'm going to keep bringing it to you because I'm here to wake you up.
He's not talking about voting records. He's talking about blood count, 65 million. That number does not move because the party platform moved. It stays because the platform requires it. You can call that politics. He's calling it something else. So when someone puts the body count next to the cross, the room get quiet for a reason. Either the numbers are wrong or the alignment is. There's no third party option to keep both intact. From the unborn to the already taken, I want you to watch the priority shift.
You know, what these leftists recommend and what they do never ceases to amaze me. Take a look at this.
Absolutely amazed by it. But let's just talk about the people who you recommended. You talk about honoring victims. The people who you recommended get clemency and live at the expense and sufferance of taxpayers for the rest of their lives. Let's start with Dylan Roof. Dylan was a neo-Nazi who murdered 9 African-American worshipers at a Bible study in Charleston, South Carolina, 2015. Do you remember this case?
I do remember it very well.
I would hope you did. Here's his victims. You want to look at them? There they are. 9 of them at a Bible study in a church, killed in cold blood. The DOJ knew from day one that he had decided, I'm going to quote from the prosecutors, decided to attack African Americans because of their race. He further decided to attack African American worshipers in a black church in order to make his attack more notorious. And yet you recommended that he be granted clemency, live at the expense of taxpayers for the rest of his life, substitute your judgment for that of the American judicial system. Do you stand by that recommendation today?
Sir, I'm not going to comment on the recommendations that I made, but I can tell you that Mr. Roof is going to die in prison as...
He's going to live in prison for a very long time because of you, because of your recommendations. And here's what you said in your memo of October 30th, 2024. You said that actually Roof is not a compelling candidate for clemency, but you recommended it anyway. Why? Because he suffered from anxiety, you said, right? He suffered from anxiety. Did it ever occur to you that maybe the family of his victims might suffer a little bit of anxiety because he marched into their church and murdered them in cold blood because he was an incredible racist and he wanted to get on TV?
Sir.
Do you regret it?
I'm not going to comment on the
Do
recommendations
you regret it?
that I made.
Now, that was Senator Josh Hawley, and he was questioning some lady that used to work for Joe Biden and make recommendations on who gets clemency. He mentioned Dylan Roof, but she actually advised President Biden to grant clemency to all 40 federal death row inmates, including Dylan Roof. Just give them clemency. Can you believe that? I guarantee you she's 100% for killing an innocent baby in the womb, but not so much for killing a racist murderer like Dylan Roof. She wants to spare his life because he, quote, had anxiety. These leftists will give mercy where it's not due. They will just take care of criminals all day long and give all kind of excuses of why the taxpayers should continue to pay for their upkeep. Dylan Roof was caught red-handed. We should have had the trial. He should have already been dispatched. He should have already been buried. He should have already been forgotten. There's no reason why our government and the taxpayers, the family members of the people he murdered, should be paying for his upkeep. We have far too many other people in our society, wounded soldiers and orphan children and elderly people who worked all their life that we need to help. We don't need to be giving that money to Dylan Roof. But this lady thinks we do because he had anxiety. Well, I tell you what, folks, this is the reason why we got to vote Republican, and this is the reason why we got to vote common sense, because this flies in the face of common sense and, quite frankly, flies in the face of decency.
I know that's right, man. Clemency for people who already took a life. But the same voices call it extreme to remove people who broke the law to enter. The hierarchy is visible. The person who already entered the life gets the soft language. The person who crossed the border gets the moral lecture. Compassion? Really? That is selective memory. Robinson is not inventing a hearing. He is pointing at the ranking of whose life gets the most careful language. And then there's the version of government some people still miss.
I want a boring federal government that I don't have to think about every day. Remember no drama, Obama? Remember people actually complaining that Obama was just chill, shooting hoops, cracking jokes, being the comforter in chief when needed because America always has issues, but just chill. People were complaining when Joe Biden was out bike riding or eating ice cream or reminiscing about his old buddy Corn Pop. They were mad that Kamala Harris was shopping for Crucinet or like Crucinet stuff in France or cooking, talking about how to cook turkeys and stuff. Mad at her laugh. I like when the federal government, it's like these apps, just run in the background, right? Just run in the background, keep food safe. I'm in California. We eat salads out here. I am on salad, and I'm a salad withdrawal. Like, our fruits and vegetables are fresh, and we get the best lettuce. That stuff is grown right here. I can't even go get a good sandwich because we got Mr. Roadkill. over all that stuff right now. RFK, gravelly voice. I can't even talk. Why am I in charge of anything? That guy. I want calm government that's just functioning. I don't want to be invading little countries. This man been begging for a Nobel Peace Prize. Now they're considering Mali. Like Mali. Like getting beaten up in the Middle East right now. So I guess they figure, well, we better go out a little bit further. We'll go back to some of our original sins and start doing some stuff on the west side of Africa again. I wonder why. Why Mali? I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder, truly wonder why. We could delete apps. Let's delete this government. Let's delete them. And I mean at the ballot box, because that's the only way to do it. Like, forget all that hype. That's how you do it. Defeat them and delete them at the ballot box. And maybe we can return to, after the cleanup, maybe we can return to some type of government running in the background again.
My guy wants the illusions again. He wants the quiet version, the ice cream, the cooking, the laughing again, the illusion of no constant emergency. Yeah, I guess I could say it's a fair desire, generally speaking, but the quiet was never quiet for the people dealing with the consequences of open policy. Some folks got to experience the calm while other zip codes absorb the cost. The nostalgia only works if you were standing far enough away from the results. That is the part the ice cream clip never shows. Now, what ties these moments together is not a party. It's the constant decision to measure everything by racial grievance while refusing to measure outcomes by the same standard. When enforcement is discussed, the skin of the enforcer becomes the topic. When pay is discussed, every variable except discrimination is treated as irrelevant. When life is discussed, the already taken life gets less urgency than the political usefulness of the living offender. And when someone simply wants the noise to stop, they are allowed to remember the calm without remembering who paid for it. Now, this is not hating anyone. This is about noticing the same voices keep selling the same diagnosis while the conditions never improves under their care. At some point, the diagnosis itself becomes the product, and the products need customers who stay sick enough for them to keep buying. You don't have to take my word. You just watch the words and the reactions in the same order, that they happen. So decide what the pattern of priorities actually is. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write the word Wade, not W-A-D-E, W-E-I-G-H-E-D. You will recognize them by their fruits. Matthew 7:16. But y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. I'm finna go take me a nap. I'm tired.